Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman, coming to you from our studios at the Capital Region International Airport. And the word international conjures up our next guest, Fathy Shetiah, who's the CEO of 7C Lingo. Welcome to the studios, but let's explain to everybody what 7C Lingo is.
Sure. Thanks for the opportunity, Chris. I really appreciate being here. 7C Lingo is a cross-culture communication company. We focus primarily on linguistic, anything that is language-related, culture-related, professional development, you'll find 7C participating in.
All right, listen, there's a myriad of things you do, but I'd like to, maybe if we could focus on cultural intelligence, right? Tell me what that is and what it means.
Sure. It's really pretty simple, straightforward. It takes a lot of work to get there, to be culturally intelligent, just like anything else you need to be intelligent in. Cultural intelligence is primarily really your own individual ability to work and communicate in a culture that is different than yours, and being able to adapt accordingly. So it's focused on you as an individual, trying to adapt in the different cultures and the different backgrounds, and being able to work with a workforce that is different, that looks different than you.
You know, it's kind of interesting. This really hits home with me, by the way, because you know how long I've dealt in China. And China, having translation in China is one thing. Even having business translation in China is another. But understanding the culture is every bit as much a key to success.
Absolutely, absolutely. Culture is one of those things that we talk about all the time, but we don't really spend enough time thinking about it because it's different. It's so different. And you really learn culture more just based on your situation, based on your experience in life. Like somebody like you that is traveling, you have a different perspective of different cultures than somebody that only lived in one particular area and only dealt with one small group of people.
You're also usually overcoming some perceptions that are not necessarily accurate. So let's talk a little bit about CQ Drive and CQ Knowledge as foundational. What do they mean?
Well, it's CQs is it's something that has been studied for probably for over 34 years. It's been tested in over 100 different countries, and really the CQ Drive and the knowledge is a foundation of the CQ model itself. So the CQ Drive, it's just are you interested? Do you have the curiosity to learn? Is your motivation really? And then you get the knowledge is, am I reading enough? Do I understand enough? Have I experienced much? You put the two together and it really gives you that foundation, like, am I ready to be culturally intelligent? It's not just books that you read. Of course, those are very, very helpful, but it's really a lot more to it. Can I actually react in a situation that I'm not comfortable with?
Absolutely. So we have a guy that works at the international airport here that speaks like 5 languages, right? And we just all say, oh, he's a natural. He was born that way. So let's talk about, cultural intelligence. Are you born into that?
Not necessarily at all. I mean, obviously, like anything else, some people are just born gifted in so many different aspects, and culture is no different. But really, culture intelligence is a skill set. I mean, it's something that you learn over time. It's very malleable. I mean, it's something that you're in and out. But it really does require intentional doing, intentional behavior, intentional wanting to get out, wanting to experience that. And culture is not just ethnic background. It's not just international borders. There's different cultures within the same family, within the same landscape of anything in life. You take a business today, a business like yours, I'm sure you and Jeff and Joe and John are different in so many aspects, but you got to learn to deal with each other.
Actually, we're all identical twins. So, being from Egypt and still having family there, doing a lot back and forth, I would suspect that made you a lot more attuned to this.
Absolutely. And really, I have gone through so many different things in my life that made me love this. I actually fumbled through this profession. It's not something that I was born with, going back to, to culture and being culture intelligent. But it is truly something that you fall into once you start experiencing different things that is different than you. You get to appreciate your own culture. You get to love your own culture, but there's a lot of work that you need to do to be able to be really more of a human being on a global level.
So yours came in that direction. How can someone like me, I guess, deepen their knowledge of this more?
Experience. Just really go out and do the uncomfortable. Just be going back to that drive. Want to learn. Be curious. Definitely reading, watching movies. All of those are the basics. But you really got to get out of your comfort zone. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. The more you learn about different cultures, the more you get to appreciate your own.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the influence and what an important factor this is, this cultural intelligence on the workplace. Is it impactful?
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. There's a lot of numbers, a lot of data that shows the more diverse your own work group and more culturally intelligent, the much better results. So much more room for innovation. People across the globe are when they work together, they're powerful. You know, from a business perspective, from a global setting perspective, communication perspective, all the political craziness, a lot of it comes back to not understanding one another from a culture standpoint primarily.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And another thing to talk about is that cultural understanding, even as simple as someone going to a hospital from a different language. Yeah. It's as much cultural as it is translation.
It is, because again, going back to the medical culture here is so different than X country medical culture.
Right.
Doctors behave differently. There's insurance companies. There's so many rules and regulations. There is so much to it. Yes, just this last weekend, I spent a lot of time at the hospital. We had somebody that was sick. The things that you see there, and I saw the iPad in terms of asking for an interpreter and so on. Everybody actually uses these devices differently. But if it's culture, if it's founded on the culture piece, it makes things so much easier.
Well, I'm sure that it does, and you're making it easier for a lot of people, which is good for business in the state of Michigan, right?
Absolutely, it does help. I mean, there's a significant data that does actually support that.
Now, Fathy Shetiah, CEO of 7C Lingo, thanks for being with us, bud. You are watching the Michigan Business Beat on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman, and we'll be back with more.